Hey, how's it going? Darby here with the AI Author, and in this video, I'm going to be breaking down for you how to use the new Buyer's Blueprint Recipe 3.0. This recipe has been in development and has been edited in several different editions of it multiple times over the past probably 4 or 5 months or so, in working with John Benson, myself, and the team at Jasper to really create this integration between CopyPro and Jasper, which is sure to come here in 2023. But it does take time to develop these things, and this recipe is at this point is really all the commands that we've gone, engineered, structured, set up to give you everything you need, 80% plus of your variables inside of the buyer's blueprint and CopyPro, which if you're already using CopyPro, you understand how much time it can take you to do the research, the thinking, and the brain power really to fill out all of these different variables from your primary goals, your avatars, secondary complaints, dreams, fears, promises, all of these things that go into creating successful, high converting copy. CopyPro has the frameworks. Jasper can help you brainstorm the variables lightning fast. And so in this video, I'm going to be showing you exactly how you can use this to generate all these variables, and then what you can do after you generate these variables, because there's a few different ways you can approach this. One is having a CopyPro account and then adding these variables into your CopyPro account. And I'm not going to go into super detail about how that works in this video. There are some trainings that you need to watch related to Jasper and CopyPro that John Benson and myself are going to walk you through step by step where these things need to go inside our CopyPro. What you need to be focused on for this recipe is getting these variables out there so that you can then take them into CopyPro, but also use them for generating months worth of sales content and just content in general to promote your product, service, and offerings with the content that you're already creating right here. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen right now, and we're going to walk through this recipe as you can see it right here. Now, this recipe is, I'm going to zoom in just a little bit. You're going to want to run this recipe, and it's a very, very simple recipe to work through. It is a long recipe, and so it's one of the things where if this is your first time, you're just going through this the first bit, then definitely take some extra time to go through and get a little bit comfortable for it. But I set it up in such a way that you really just need to follow it top down and then edit a few things here and there as we go. So basically, how to get set up in this recipe. If you don't have CopyPro and you want CopyPro, this is a great link to go through to get it and activate it inside of your account. There's a few different tiers and structures that you can get there. But assuming you already have a CopyPro account, this training is going to go again, walk you through how to use what we're going to develop inside of this recipe. And this training is a little bit more like cut and paste with how to add it into like the CopyPro with the commands template. But this is a much faster way to generate all of these variables. I'm going to show you exactly how. But first, you'll see inside of this content brief, you see an avatar, a niche, and a primary complaint, primary goals, mistaken beliefs, primary cause defined, and consequences. And now these are all things that we're going to end up filling in down the path, and they don't all need to be inside of your content brief at one point. But what we do want to start with and is just three simple variables. And I want to make sure that this bit right here is also set up inside of my content brief, because it just helps with the formatting of how Jasper outputs these things. So I'm going to add in my favorite visceral emotional language as the tone of voice, and I'm going to be making this as an example for this case study is going to be for a board game side hustle, a party game for entrepreneurs, helping entrepreneurs have more fun, without the burnout. And so we're just going to start here, and now again, going through this training with John, which I highly recommend you doing leading into this recipe, is avatar is just like one or two words that describe who your avatar is. Niche is going to be maybe business, and primary goal is going to be have more fun. Okay, so entrepreneurs in business that want to have more fun, and or maybe you'd say fun. Let's say startups. Entrepreneurs and startups want to have more fun, because we all know how much burnout that can be. And so let's go down here to the beginning of the recipe. And so like what I want to emphasize now as I start to go through and run this is I'm going to primarily be using Command J. And what Command J is just another way you see down here. It's composing how you're telling Jasper to essentially give each of these commands. So what you notice inside of here is we've already kind of answered this, right? but Jasper's gonna give you a little bit more on top of it. And so this is gonna be a good secondary reference point for things that I'm gonna want to just like look back to as I'm doing anything from marketing for this specific offer that I'm gonna be that I'm doing this blueprint for. So I'm actually gonna be, let me say, buyer's blueprints for entrepreneurs in startups. So entrepreneurs and startups. So a little bit more context up here with Jasper, right there. And again, so we got the primary goal. That's fine. Now, for the topic is really just, like what is the general topic about this goal? And this is more specifically for CopyPro. And this command is set up, just to help you brainstorming what that might be. So I would just recommend you run these. And then when you go back into CopyPro, you can simply copy and paste which one makes the most sense right here. Now, what are the primary complaints? Now we want to identify what the primary complaints are because these are going to be what a lot of our marketing copy is going to be built around. But then we're also going to develop the secondary complaints and secondary complaints, and these are also things that you could write your blog posts, your YouTube videos, Twitter threads, TikToks, Reels, all of that stuff for expanding upon this sort of content. And you can see feeling overwhelmed by the complexity of launching and managing a startup, struggling to feel the decisions of taking a break or take action in the face of risk, right? Fearing that their hard work won't pay off in the end. Like, there's, a lot of good stuff in here as I already know, just from being an entrepreneur myself and, different ways that we can position the product or service on the back end. But, noting that like, this isn't about the product, right? It's not about the product. It's about the person. It's about the avatar. It's about what they're experiencing. And there's going to be different ways to introduce different problems that can help this, avatar solve these problems ultimately. So this is kind of Jasper giving like a little summary on it. And I found that it does that quite a bit here, which I think is actually a good thing in that case. So I'm gonna say this one. Have more fun feeling isolated and unsupported inside of their business venture. So I'm going to actually add this one in now because you see now right here, we want the Jasper needs to reference this and it's not going to reference it above these characters. So I'm going to say primary complaints equals feeling isolated right here. And so now I would just go and do command J or compose here. Isolated, struggling to find support, overwhelmed, low demand, low motivation. Again, just kind of for the topic, I'm gonna brainstorm it and come back in a little bit and add these all inside of CopyPro. But, you know, you can really get this whole thing and all these variables filled out inside of a 30-minute period if you're really sitting down to focus on it. So what are the primary complaints? Actually, this should actually be secondary. Hold on. So that should actually be secondary. I'm gonna say 10 examples. And so from here, I'm actually gonna just remove this. And now we've got our secondary complaints that we're gonna be generating going down this line. Let's see. Jasper's thinking a bit. So again, like struggling to take a leap and make your dreams a reality. Like you could write a whole book about this. You could write just a blog post, a series of content just around these to just kind of like keep your content in line with what you're going to be doing on the sales side. This is a great way to just be on the same page across the board with this buyer's blueprint. And all of these can be used as prompts, which is kind of what I've found is like a hack, like the hack way to use this recipe is like you run the recipe, you'll have all of these different variables here, but now you can take these variables and you can go into the one shot blog post. You can go into like a Twitter thread, LinkedIn post ideas, and Jasper is now going to start you can start building out other types of content based on that. So overwhelmed with countless decisions, right? Not having access to capital or resources to make the dreams come true. And, so all of these things could be true and they could be stuff that we're talking about inside of our copy to write different sales hooks, angles, things like that. And so essentially the rest of this recipe follows very similar format as this, right? So you come down here, secondary complaints. You'll come down here, dreams, um, objections, fears, failures, and Jasper's going to run this. It's going to give us some topics. And, you would want to probably add in your secondary complaint into the content brief to be very specific about that one. But you're going to have multiple secondary complaints inside of CopyPro. So just keeping that in mind. And so, again, I'm not doing anything right here outside of um, composing. And so get creative. And so these are all things that I could take as inspiration for different social media posts as well. So just think about the byproduct of running this recipe isn't just your variables for CopyPro. It's also kind of the roadmap for what you can create content for the next 30, 60, 90 days or more. So I think that's a really cool way to approach this recipe. And I hope it's a useful way for yourself. And yeah, just my computer's running a little slow, or maybe it's Jasper. These larger recipes tend to maybe take a little longer to run the commands just because there's a lot more inside of here. But yeah, so fun place to work. Then we'd go down to the dreams, and if it does do this, I would just reset the page. Scroll on down again. And then go back to composing right here. Come on, Jasper. All right. So dreams here, taking risks. Let's go ahead and finish this one out. Yeah, this is just extra content, but this is all good stuff that we could take and use and reference back again for other bits. So if Jasper wants to comply, if not, basically throughout here, dreams, Command J, you run this. Objections, you could run this as you could either run both of these at the same time if you just added this with answer each objection. But ultimately, yeah, if you come down here, Jasper's going to give you a lot of the objections. Composing down here, negative feelings is going to give you negative feelings. Same thing goes for here. Compose, you get your ultimate fears. Compose, you get your promises. And now here's where you need to pay attention and take the mistaken beliefs from here. You'd want to add that in either just down here, or you could also add it in over to the content brief as well. And this is where Jasper will come with the truth is statement around it. And then this is a good one for the enemy, just running right here, your different things like source, followers of influencers, unhelpful advisors, debunk theories. Again, just pulling different things. What are other people saying, right? Great research tool for just getting kind of words where Jasper's already read big chunk of the internet. And so let's go. We don't need this. So you could just keep running these commands as you need them. These are all things, again, that would go for just CopyPro or otherwise. Consequences negatively affect your life. So this is where you'd want to add like a consequence right here and then run this command into Jasper will kind of create a story around it. Negative statistics, pretty self-explanatory. Just composing right here, Jasper will come up with negative statistics around. your, avatar niche and primary goal. So let's see what that comes up with there. Right. And so like, here's a way you can kind of direct it as well. Primary, say burnout. So all I did is add in primary complaint is burnout right up here. So Jasper could now reference this in its statistic. Uh, my hope is that it will come up with some statistic related to entrepreneurs and burnout. Right, research shows entrepreneurs who don't prioritize having fun are more likely to experience burnout. And I want to obviously fact check this. Um, you know, right there, but this would be a good statistic to pull and, like, point out, like, statistically speaking, that this is the case. Again, same right here, bad habits, you would simply just go here, click compose, and procrastinating, endless scrolling social media, working long hours with no breaks, um, right? Just like that. And really just follow the same sort of structure all the way down through to the bottom of it. And so that's how you run this recipe. And again, once and this is I want to highlight this too because this is a command stack that I think is it sometimes works really great and sometimes it doesn't quite as much. So you don't have to run all of these at once, but if you do put your cursor at the end of this offer for this command and click run, see where the little Jasper flag is. Sometimes it'll run it, sometimes it won't. And so if you want to just like do physical problems, the options right here, I would just run Command Shift Enter, fatigue, lack of focus, insomnia, poor diet. And then I would go here, Command Shift Enter, right? These are emotional problems. And then you've got like psychological problems. Command Shift Enter. See, spiritual, feeling disconnected, like going through life alone, things that you could obviously like have an angle on inside of your marketing as it relates to your prospect or avatar. And then the last few here, benefits, offer reframes, things like that. So bonus commands are down here as you can do it. But yeah, that should give you a pretty clear idea about how to run this recipe and get these results for yourself. And so assuming you run through this whole recipe, give yourself 30 to 60 minutes to run through it all and verify the stuff that's coming out is on good point. That's all stuff that you would then go and apply into your CopyPro blueprint so that the variables stay there and you can use them again and again and again and generate whole sales pages, letters, and things of that nature. But thing I want to, again, kind of circle back to as we wrap this video up in this training is that once you've developed, let's just say all of these complaints and these commands, um, let's just take feeling like, let's take this. I'm going to go ahead and go to power mode and say, okay, cool. I'm going to come back to my buyer's blueprint for entrepreneurs and startups, and I'm going to say, okay, I'm gonna target maybe, let me see, anxiety. I'm not going to build a business. So let's just say right here, I want to visceral entrepreneurs in startups. So I could come over here now, and let's just say you wanted to generate, and I could still never spell entrepreneurs. Two outputs. You could generate these outputs and essentially start to build out like a whole series of blog posts that target all of these different pain points that your customers are experiencing. And the way that John Benson teaches it is that your primary complaint, your primary goals are like what's front facing, but people are going to buy based on like the secondary complaints and having you solve and address those problems. So if Side Hustle, the party game for entrepreneurs, can help entrepreneurs with their anxiety of not having like time because they feel stressed and all this stuff and they just need to de-stress and have some fun and be have some play in their life, then that's a good angle to position it after we've written out, say, a blog post or a few blog posts that target this and, really bring attention to like these problems that people are going through, right? Dealing with the overwhelming stress of growing a business, right? Being an entrepreneur is one of the most exhilarating experiences in life, but it can also be incredibly overwhelming when you're tasked with scaling up your business. It's easy to become overwhelmed with all the decisions that need to be made, from hiring new employees to managing finances. Every decision can have an impact on your future success. It can be difficult to stay focused and motivated where there's so much pressure here, right? So keep perspective, right? And so we're kind of going into like the blog post, style. Like, so I could obviously I would want to edit this. So growing a business can be overwhelming, and like this looks like a pretty good structure here. And like, okay, great. You remain focused, your goals, everything fall into place. But all work, no play. And I could like transition that, makes Jack a little boy. Like if you don't take time for yourself to have fun, then what's the point of being in business if we're just going to be stressed out all the time? Side hustle, the party game for entrepreneurs is like yada, yada, yada. You can go buy it on Amazon, play at home, or you can play virtually, at playsidehustle.com. Right. And so like they could plug that at the end here, but the content was basically already like formulated, brainstormed to attack the secondary complaint, provide information around it and value, and then, plugging back into whatever product service you have. Maybe it's a call to action to jump on a call with you, fill out a survey, contact us, something along those lines. But that's just an example of how you can use not just this recipe for what we're doing with the variables, but how to now experiment with adding it to AIDA, blog post, listicles, all sorts of other things that are going to ultimately help you just create better content faster using Jasper and using these auto scripting workflows that we create. So hope you find this helpful and useful. And if you do, let me know inside of our circle community that you can subscribe to if you're not a member already at the AIauthor.com or just the AIauthor.com. Find the membership tier that works right for you, and making sure you subscribe to us on YouTube so you get notified when we do more videos, which would be a lot more videos over the course of this next year, for sure on YouTube, as well as just dropping a comment inside of this video wherever you're watching it at. Did you learn anything from this? Did you get any tips or tricks that you're applying yourself inside of Jasper? Let me know with a comment below. And if you guys do want this recipe, then you need to be a part of our community. And that's part of the benefits of our memberships. They get access to these new recipes. So this recipe is going to be posted inside of our AI Author membership. So if you want to do that and join us and be a part of the future of publishing and really pushing the process forward for AI content creation, and join us there at the AI Author. Subscribe to us on YouTube. And until the next video, keep calm and Jasper on. Cheers.